but we start with a little what you got. If you're new to the show, Trey presents us with some similar topics from the NBA world, and we got to determine the better choice. The catch, there's only one right answer, and it's whatever Trey Kirby thinks it is. TK.
Last night, TNT revealed this season's All-Star reserves, and then 3 seconds later, we all started arguing about snubs with a couple of big guys in the 76ers, Joel Embiid, and Jazz's Rudy Gobert figuring prominently in the discussion. They both got strong cases, but who's the bigger big man snub, Embiid or Gobert? What you got?
It's Rudy Gobert for me. Joel Embiid hasn't played against 8 of the 30 NBA teams, ever. So how can the coaches actually vote for him? I understand, even though I had him on my team, I understand why they didn't. They've never had to game plan for him, and it's the Sixers, so they really haven't game planned for him. Who they have game planned for is DeAndre Jordan for several years, and that's why I think he got picked over Rudy Gobert. Gobert is the better defensive presence, the bigger defensive presence this season. But I think DeAndre Jordan's getting a bit of a career recognition award, his first All-Star appearance.
I'll say this about Embiid, because he doesn't have the minutes, but the minutes he is on the floor, the impact is enormous. The Sixers' defense is 11th best in the league when he's on the floor, up from nearly the bottom last year. They've been awful for the last couple of years, so it's not hard to make a big improvement when you've got a great big centre, athletic centre who can deter shots like he can. The Sixers have a net rating of almost 7 when he's on the floor, and he's third in usage rate in the entire league at 36.1. So there's no doubt that when he's out on the floor, he makes a huge impact. And I think the fact that he just missed a lot of games really is what cost him. Otherwise, I think he's in that team.
Yeah, this is tough, but I think the bigger snub is Gobert, simply because when we were making our picks, all 4 of us had Rudy Gobert in there, and we were a little bit more split on Embiid because you can make the case for Paul Millsap just because he's played twice the amount of minutes. They're both unbelievable players. I would imagine both these guys, knock on wood here, are both going to be in multiple All-Star games in the future. But Gobert is right now the best defensive big in the league.
Yes.
He challenged the most shots at the rim and has an unbelievable opponent's field goal percentage. It's craters down there around 43.5% when they're against him at the rim. So he leads the league in blocks, defensive rating, defensive win shares. He really truly is better than DeAndre. You said it, Tass. DeAndre sort of got the sort of sympathy vote a little bit because he hadn't made it in the last little while. I think that came into play, and that's why I think it's Gobert. But they also maybe didn't want to pick 2 Jazz players. Yeah. They're a good team. They're not Warriors or Spurs-like. And there's another name we probably could have thrown in the mix, in LaMarcus Aldridge, another big that maybe is deserving snub.
Easily,
yeah. I mean, if you look at the raw numbers here between Gobert and Jordan, there's not a lot to separate them.
No, they're very, very similar.
Yeah,
very
similar. And in that case, their team records are basically the same as well, 30 wins and 17, 18 losses there. I think it is fair, though, to say to DeAndre, who was first-team All-NBA last year, when it is so close, it's fair to give him the nod. He's earned it over a long time of doing this, and Rudy is still,
So you're saying when 2 guys are that close, you have no problem looking back at their past seasons and past accomplishments?
Yeah, because DeAndre has been very close before. We recognise that. And Rudy, he was good last year. He's been even better this year. But again, he will get that favour in his. It will go in his favour at some point later in his career.
You're penalising Rudy, though. You're penalising because I think he has had the better first half. DeAndre Jordan maybe should have made it last year, and I think the coaches went up and down, the standings and said, "Okay, we got a Spur. That's fine." Clipper, we don't have a Clipper.
Yeah.
And I think it's ludicrous that Chris Paul didn't make this team.
Well, we're going to get to that. But what's the answer to this, Trey? It's up to you here.
I think it's Gobert, too. I'd rather see Embiid in the game. But like you guys are saying, Gobert has been a better DeAndre Jordan, really, this season. But it wasn't just the tall.